I love pumpkin scones this time of the year, but I hate the high-fat, artificial ingredient versions that you find everywhere. So I decided to create this recipe to enjoy the flavors of autumn without the guilt. Plus, stick around for a bonus pumpkin recipe at the end of this video. Hi there! Today we are making one of my favorite fall recipes, pumpkin scones. Let's get to mixing. We'll start with our dry ingredients. We have 2 cups of whole wheat flour going right in, and then 3/4 cup of oat flour. And this combination gives us so much fiber and nutrition versus just using all-purpose, plain white flour, which doesn't really have any fiber at all. So we have our whole wheat, we have our oat flour. Now we're gonna add salt. We have 1/2 teaspoon kosher salt in, and then we need pumpkin pie spice. Now you could buy this pre-made on your own. I actually mix this up myself. It's a mixture of cinnamon, I can smell it. Cinnamon and nutmeg, allspice, cloves. I add a little cardamom to make it a little fancy. So we're gonna do 2.5 teaspoons. There's 1, 2. My 1/2 is in the salt, so let's get that right in. A tablespoon of baking soda. We want them to have a little bit of lift. There we go. Now we'll whisk our dry ingredients together. Oh yeah, you can smell the pumpkin pie spice. Just gives you all the fall vibes. There we go. That's done. Now it's time to add our liquid ingredients and butter. We're cutting our butter into our dry ingredients. I'm using a pastry cutter, which works really well, but you can also use a fork. What we want to do is break up that butter into kind of pea-size amounts, so that's incorporated all throughout our dough, just like you would if you were making biscuits. But so keep bringing it down pea-size amounts, and then we'll add in the rest of our wet ingredients. For our wet ingredients, we have 2/3 cup of canned pumpkin. Make sure it's pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling. Going in, 1/3 cup of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then 1 egg. And we'll mix that up. What I love about this is it's all one bowl because it's less mess and less to clean up. So we want to mix this so it comes together. All right, our dough has come together so nicely. It's a little bit sticky, but that's what we want. That means they're gonna be moist scones. Now we'll put it on our sheet tray and we're gonna score it so we have our sections cut. All right, now we put it onto our sheet tray, which has Silpat, or you can use parchment paper, and we're gonna press it into about a 9-inch round circle. Just use your hands to really move the dough how you want it to go. We can see the flecks of butter, which means it's gonna give it a little flakiness, but compared to a bakery scone, like a Starbucks scones are 500 calories. This scone here is gonna be 244, way less fat. Starbucks has 23 grams of fat in one little scone. We have 7, a big difference. Plus we have fiber, there's less sodium, and way less sugar. So a Starbucks scone has 46 grams of sugar, and these scones have 14. Such a big difference, but I'm telling you, taste-wise, there's not a big difference. It's time to score, and I have this little bench scraper. It's plastic. Do not use a knife if you have a Silpat. I've done this before, and I've cut right through my Silpat and had to get a new one. So this is plastic. You want to score because we're not going all the way through. We're just making these lines so that we can cut it easily later. And we're cutting this into 10, which is a little tricky, but cut it in half is my suggestion, and then each side will be 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm getting better at this. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. Now they're going to go into the oven, 425 degrees, and they'll bake for about 12 to 15 minutes until they're firm to the touch. While the scones are baking, mix up your icing. So it's 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, a tablespoon of almond milk. Of course, you could also use soy or cow's milk, whatever milk you like, and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. The icing is optional, but I highly recommend it. It just gives that extra little bit of sweetness and makes them really look like they came from a bakery. There you have it. Nice, thin, drizzly icing. Our scones have baked. My house smells like a bakery, smells like pumpkin and fall. I'm gonna dig in. You stick around for a bonus pumpkin recipe. Hey, I'm so glad you stuck around because now it's time for the bonus recipe. We're making pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. They're full of fall flavors and so scrumptious. I have a similar recipe. It's my banana nut muffin recipe. You can check out the video here. But this time we're subbing in pumpkin, chocolate chips, lots of fall flavors. Let's get started.
To a large bowl, add half a cup of oat flour, half a cup of wheat flour, and half a cup all-purpose flour. Then it's 1/4 cup ground flaxseed, 2 teaspoons pumpkin pie spice, 1 teaspoon baking soda, and half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Then grab your whisk and whisk everything to combine the dry ingredients. Next up are the wet ingredients. In my measuring cup, I've combined half a cup of honey, 1/4 cup of olive oil, and 1/4 cup of almond milk. You could use whatever milk you really like here. Give it a little scrape out. Then we'll add 1 egg. Just crack it right in. Half a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And then 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree. Grab your whisk again, and then whisk the wet ingredients to thoroughly combine. Now, add the wet to your dry. This is where you want to use a spatula, so we don't overmix, because overmixing muffins makes them really tough. Chocolate chips, half a cup, go right in. And just mix until they're really into the batter.
Our batter is mixed. You can see it's nice and orange, fall, pumpkin-y, and I can smell that pumpkin pie spice, the fall flavors. Now it's time to put it into our muffin tin, sprinkle some chocolate chips on top, and then it goes in the oven. There you have 2 pumpkin recipes to get you started baking healthy this fall. Love these pumpkin muffins. What's your favorite way to cook with pumpkin? I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Follow along for more recipes and nutrition tips. I'll see you in the next video. For now, I'm gonna eat my muffin.